The Chamber of Commerce Southern New Jersey held its first of 4 Flaster Greenberg State of events on January 31st at the Mansion on Main Street. The State of Real Estate featured a high-level panel of 5 speakers, was attended by 160 chamber members, and were sponsored by Whitesell, Binswanger, Connor Strong, and Jones Lang LaSalle.
Event is the first of 4 State of Forums we have planned for 2012, each featuring a different topic. Our thinking was to bring together experts to discuss a particular subject matter important to our regional economy and our membership.
About 3.5 years ago, Flaster Greenberg was part of the Chamber Outlook, and I was asked to introduce the day, and at that point in time we were starting the economic troubles, and I indicated that things looked like they were going to go down, and they were. In my view over all the years, that one thing that happens when you're in crisis, and we've been in crisis from an economic standpoint, is that's when you start to see good government and good decisions, when everybody starts pulling together. Government's trying to get things in order, cutting back on expenses and what have you, really trying to understand what is needed to keep the economy moving. I know the Chamber has seen in all aspects of business how government regulation is getting better, government is more friendly.
Frank went on to explain how real estate assessments are determined, including equalization ratios, re-evaluations, and income and expense reports, as well as the mechanics of tax appeals.
In New Jersey, real estate taxes are based upon what your assessed value is times a municipal tax rate divided by 100. Assessments can be challenged in New Jersey by taking tax appeals. You must file your tax appeal on or before April 1 of 2012 for this tax year.
Panelist today is Tom Heitzman, Executive Vice President and COO of Whitesell and Vice Chairman of the Chamber's Board. Tom.
Thank you for joining us today to examine the current state of the real estate economy here in Southern New Jersey. Suffice it to say, it has been a rough couple of years, although from our perspective at Whitesell, I think that we are experiencing meaningful improvement in leasing and new business development, particularly in the industrial sector, which is gaining momentum as we move into 2012.
Tom described how the Great Recession impacted the commercial real estate market.
New development ground to a halt quickly and for the most part remains at a standstill where it will likely stay for some time. Here in South Jersey, the Great Recession resulted in vacancy levels not seen since the early 1990s. For South Jersey office space, year-end 2011 saw vacancy between 17 and 20%.
Tom went on to discuss absorption rates for industrial real estate and the office market, the disappearance of commercial mortgage-backed securities lending, and his thoughts on the future.
At Whitesell, we are feeling pretty upbeat about things for the industrial product. And in my view, 2012 will be a strong year for leasing in the industrial sector, the strongest since the start of the recession. And I'm cautiously optimistic for the office sector to follow over the next few to several quarters. As people get back to work, if they can get back to work, I expect that the recovery in commercial real estate will accelerate. Thank you.
Our first speaker today is Mark Policarpo, Senior Vice President, Biswagger, and member of our Board of Directors and former Vice Chairman of the Membership Division.
Mark Policarpo's presentation was an in-depth overview of the southern New Jersey regional and national markets, vacancy and absorption statistics, key industrial building and land sales, as well as market trends.
Some key industrial indicators for the region, vacancy factor that everyone's familiar with. We stood at 10.7% in 2009, which was just after everything kind of fell apart and the recession began. The vacancy rate shot up, and it went down a full percentage point from 2009 and sat at 9.7% at the end of 2010, and then went down another 0.6% and was at 9.1% at the end of this last year. All of this translates into real-world examples, and here's some selected industrial sales that I want to talk about for just a minute. In South Jersey, over the last 10 years, this graph represents what's happened with the sale of industrial land.
David Dolan provided an overview of the office submarkets in South Jersey, including Mount Laurel, Marlton, Moorestown, Cherry Hill, Pennsauken, Voorhees, Gibbsboro, and Atlantic City.
One kind of bright spot is the trophy buildings in this marketplace, Burlington, Camden County, are actually very well leased. And that includes a Liberty Property Trust building on Fellowship Road, a Trefoil building, and some others. Those buildings are 95 to 100% leased, so those buildings are doing well as compared to some of the B class and older properties which do have a higher vacancy.
David also shared his leasing and sales forecast.
In terms of general forecast of leasing activity for 2012, because I think as other people have mentioned, that we see some improving corporate balance sheets in America in general. So we think that's going to create some additional leasing activity in the marketplace. So we're going to work very hard like everybody else on the table. I think we're going to have a pretty good year in 2012. Thanks very much.
Our final speaker this morning is Harry Johnson, a Managing Director and Senior Vice President in the Major Accounts Division for Connor Strong and Buffalo. Harry will discuss the many challenges associated with property insurance market. We're so glad he could round out this morning's program. Please join me in a warm paper welcome for Harry Johnson. Harry?
There are changes in the property insurance marketplace that you should be aware of, particularly as we go into 2012 and you're negotiating your insurance programs. What this slide is telling you is that all the insurance coverages, workers' compensation, general liability, all the rates have been declining over the past 8 years.
Harry Johnson provided attendees with an overview of 2011, a catastrophic year. He explained catastrophe modeling, what to expect in the 2012 property insurance market, and advice and best practices for addressing your property insurance needs.
Look at 2011. We had $105 billion in insured losses. $105 billion. $435 billion in economic losses, which makes 2011 the most costly year on record, topping 2005 when we had Katrina, Rita, and Wilma. Many carriers that we've been meeting with, and they're basically holding the line in rates. In the past, if you had a bad loss year, we could convince them to sort of throw that year out and price it without that loss. Now, that's not happening any longer. Underwriters are basically looking and saying, this is the rate we want for the account, and if you don't like it, we're going to walk away. Bottom line is that, from our perspective, if you start 90 to 120 days before renewal, the renewal program that you get shouldn't be a surprise to you. The last thing you want is 3 days before the renewal, somebody coming in and telling you your costs are going up 30%. So stay on top of things, and I think everything will go fine. Thank you.
Following the panelists' presentations, members had the opportunity to ask questions.
Thanks again to our sponsors and our expert speakers. Let's give them a round of applause.
the Chamber gratefully acknowledges the support and generosity of our sponsors. Our title sponsor, Blaster Greenberg, and our supporting sponsors, Jones Lang LaSalle, Binswanger, White Cell, and Connor Strong of Buckaloo. And of course, we thank our valued members who attended the event.